Welcome to Withdraw Consent. I'm Jack. So I want to talk about this situation, not as current events, but you already know the basic situation that there's the Stargate project that Trump started on his second day of office. It's going to be $500 billion. Let's go into these tech CEOs to do all the AI stuff. It's Larry Ellison and then Sam Altman and then the other guy. But what's happened here with this controversy? Everybody's looking at this wrong, in my opinion. So they look at these old videos of Sam Altman and Larry Ellison talking about AI and watching you, everything you do, everything's interconnected, but nobody's watching you. The AI is watching you. And they're talking about this massive surveillance state. And people are pushing back against that. And they're rightly pushing back against it. Okay. But I just think that everybody has the wrong take on what we want to see. Okay. Now you might have watched this channel a time or two and you might think you know what I'm going to say on this, but I'm not going there because I could say, because these people can't conceive of a good system, that in a good system, we would want the surveillance state because we wouldn't be afraid of the government, because what would they be doing? They'd be monitoring your child as he walks down the road to, his friend's house or whatever, or carries his gun to school and checks it in at the principal so that no bad guys come and pick that kid up, and kidnap him and stuff like that. But that's not the correct take to this, in my opinion. That's a correct take in some situations. But in this situation, in the future society that you want to live in, that you want to struggle to achieve, where would the guy come from in the van who's trying to kidnap your kid? Like, where does he fit in the system? Because see, what I'm trying to say here is I don't want to accept the surveillance state, whether it's in a good system or a bad system, whether it's Trump or Kamala or just anybody else you can imagine. What I'm encouraging you to is to strive towards a future that doesn't have the surveillance state. It's unneeded. So think back to, like, what I'm pitching is this: 1950s. That's what I want. 1950s. Your kid can walk down the road. Your kid can take the gun to school, check it in the principal's office, do some shooting after with his friends, like whatever. Where you can leave your gun in your truck unlocked, and you just have no worries. So what happened between 1950s and what happened today that gets it to this low trust society that we don't want this? We never consented to this. We never consented to any of this. Now, a lot of it has to do with immigration, the Hart-Celler Act. I got an episode on that. I'll link in the description if you're interested in more details on that. But a lot of it is demographics, but not all of it's demographics. We want to get rid of anything in our society that changed from 1950 to today, 2025, that altered society in a way that we don't have that Andy Griffith idyllic situation. And so, like, some people are black-pilled and they say, well, you can never achieve that. Well, if you want to know about how rapid things can change, we're living in this era of Trump newly elected in his first month of office, we'll say. And I've never seen political change this rapidly. I've just never seen it happen. It definitely can happen if the political will is there to achieve that, and it's not blocked by a minority of people in our country who are seeking the destruction of our people. But I want to go back to a story, and if you haven't been watching for a long time, you might not have heard this story, and the story is very relevant, right? It's going to go to the change that happened from the Weimar Republic into the 30s in Germany. If you don't have the communist people with all their ideologies, and I don't understand any of that. Like, I don't understand how communism as an economic system, I don't know how that's not divorced from a cultural revolution, and you have a different name for the cultural revolution thing. But for some reason, if you know, put it in the description, because nobody claims, we're gonna start a new system of capitalism in this country. That's gonna come with, and then a bunch of social issues. I don't understand either abortions or no abortions. Like, how would that not be divorced from an economic system? The book's Das Kapital. It's not anything related to culture. Anyways, so basically, I'm gonna put a quote up on the screen from a book, and I'll put the name of the book on the screen. I don't have the book with me. But I have the screenshot, and I'll put the references below because the book's quoting another book, and these are all anti-Hitler people, okay? But they're trying to explain away why it was so good in Germany, and they're trying to come up with reasons why this was really terrible, but honestly, obviously it wasn't. So they're gonna draw a parallel between how much surveillance in Germany was required after the war in East Germany to a population of 17 million, and how much surveillance was required in 1937, so 4 years into Hitler's administration in Germany, which was minuscule because once, of course, the communists aren't doing all their stuff and you don't have any immigration problems or anything like that. Everything just runs smoothly. And that they're trying to explain away the Andy Griffith that's going on there. Okay, so let me read this to you. Communist East Germany would later employ 190,000 official surveillance experts and an equal number of unofficial collaborators, so we're talking about 380,000, to watch over a populace of 17 million, while the Gestapo in 1937 had just over 7,000 employees, including bureaucrats and secretarial staff. Together with a far smaller force of security police, they sufficed to keep tabs on more than 60 million people. Most Germans simply did not need to be subjected to surveillance or detention, because once you get rid of all the riffraff and you just have your people, and there's, like you get rid of the drug problems, you get rid of everything, because the Weimar Republic was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. The lawlessness, the immorality, the corruption. Come turn that around, and only 4 years later, you need 7,000 Gestapo to police 60 million people, and the 7,000 is including their bureaucrats and secretarial staff. So those are not all cops, right? And in Communist East Germany, they needed 190,000 official, 190,000 unofficial collaborators to police 17 million people. Because when it's the communists with, I don't know why, but they've got all these weird things that they're pushing in the culture, and the people are against it, it takes a much larger body of policing to try to keep them in line, because you're not governing in line with the spirit of what the people want. Because we all want, the people who are not communists, we all want similar stuff. We want happy, safe communities for our families and our kids to grow up in with, so their friends aren't doing wild stuff because they're just a lot of nice families. We all want the same kind of stuff. And so my point of this episode is we can get there without the surveillance state, and we should reject the surveillance state, whether we had a good system or a bad system. We should reject it across the board, and we should be going for this. We should be going for the 1950s. There should be a name for it, the pre-Hart-Celler Act society, and with the homogenous group. And then, anyways, you get where I'm going with this. So if you put this into your thinking, just think about everything that changed from 1950s to now to get where we're at today, and that we want to undo all of that. That's my position, and I think it's a higher aspiration than what anybody else you're watching, I'm just going to guess, is pitching to you. But that's where we should be struggling for. Anyways, that's what I got for you. So Wednesday, I'm going to have this episode on Iran. I got this whole new idea that nobody's covering, and I think I discovered something fantastic on that. And then on Thursday, I'm going to publish the dispensationalism episode, which is very important. It's the fundamental thing that created the Christian Zionism, and it's very new, and I think it can be easily defeated. I'm going to cover that then, and hope to see you there.